Hey y'all, I'm Jeff Shell from the North Star Steakhouse, one of the perhaps most famous restaurants in the Topeka area for sure, and perhaps Kansas. We're an old style, old school roadhouse that serves steaks and some fish and French fries and gravy. That's what we're known for. Here's the restaurant in 1951. This is the flood that went from basically Kansas City all the way to Emporia, and there she is up to her neck, and that's the side of the restaurant that's been here the longest, in 1942, so this is our 77th year. And where I'm at now is our lounge. That was built in 1972, the restaurant in 1942. So we come over here, Jug Robinson, who is the founder of the North Star Steakhouse. Here he is in his nice suit and tie. Jug's a very interesting character. So of course he started the restaurant, but he also was involved in some, let's say, questionable activity. Kansas was dry till 1954, and the North Star started in 1942. So this was one of the only places in the city and the state that you could get a drink. It was illegal, of course, being prohibition still in Kansas. And here's an interesting photograph of Jug Robinson. This would have been early 50s, and that's a friend of his. His name's Dan. But you see Jug's hand. He's missing his middle finger, and the story is he got it bit off in a bar fight. And so when I said he was kind of a questionable character, he also hung out with some questionable characters. So if you follow me over here, these are a couple of Jug Robinson's associates from Kansas City. So that's the fellow that's in the picture, that picture with the missing middle finger. That's Dan. It was a good friend of Jug's. And then these are a couple fellas up in the Kansas City area. And what's really kind of interesting about this, and of course everybody loves a mob story when it's 60, 70 years ago, but if you take a look, I don't know if you know what blood looks like on an outfit, but I would imagine it looks kind of like that. So I'm not sure what those fellas are doing there that night, other than doing some smiling and probably some celebrating over something. I guess it's kind of funny, you think about being some guys in Kansas City that are kind of connected and needing to take care of something, and I can certainly imagine them going, you know, there's this place down in Topeka, we could go take care of that thing that we needed to take care of. So another interesting aspect of the restaurant, this is David Benson. He started waiting tables at the restaurant, the North Star Steakhouse, in 1950, and he retired in 2000. So he worked here for 50 years, a year before the flood, and he passed in 2006. He was known for never writing anything down, and if you'd been here once, he remembered you, and he remembered what you liked and what you ordered. So David is, a fond memory of many other folks, and this is kind of his counterpart. That's Charles Johnson. So he waited tables here for 35 years, and between the two of them, they made things run around here. Now, to finish up this little brief tidbit of history of the North Star, I was just given some of this information, some of this paperwork over the weekend by some folks that come in here quite a bit. Gerald Block gave this to me. This is Jug's first wife, or one of his wives, I should say. I believe is actually his second wife. And her name was Anita Moffett Lamoth. And Jug actually married her 3 different times. So I think it was the 2nd, 5th, and 7th wife. And he also married 2 other women twice. So 7 marriages, 3 women. It's interesting, she's got quite a history there. She was part of vaudeville. She did some burlesque, as you might imagine. And, definitely a pretty good looking woman there. She was born, it looks like, in 1909. and she did, so like I said, vaudeville, and she worked with people like W.C. Fields and Jack Benny, George Burns, and Gracie Allen. She married Jug in 1933, and then when Jug passed away, she moved to Kansas City, and after he died, she died on May 17th, it says here, by jumping from a 6-story apartment building. So she was obviously very troubled in many different ways, but looks like she was a lot of fun. So these are a couple other articles that was given over the weekend. With or without liquor stamp, Robinson finds himself stuck as laws book him after raid, and that was in 1948. Like I said, Kansas was dry till 54. So several other articles here about Jug and about Miss Moffett, and so lots of history here at the North Star. We hope to see you soon. Cheers.